Okay, so generally, reorder paragraphs is one area where most of you feel that there is a lot of ambiguity, there is a lot of confusion. In terms of the question type, you only have 2 to 3 questions in the whole set. So again, focus, personally, that is what I would recommend. Focus more on your fill in the blanks and your reading MCQs, as they contribute a lot more to your score. But again, just to clarify, because reorder paragraphs have increased in difficulty level, and they actually is, this is one question type where a lot of strategies are there. In fact, there are around 15 to 20 different strategies that are applicable to this question type. So I'm just covering 2 or 3 of them here today. So I hope that you find this lesson helpful. Okay, so the first strategy is to look at contrasting clue words. Contrasting clue words will be words like but, or yet, or nevertheless. That means that you can find a sentence before that that'll have, that'll give some continuity to the sentence. For example, I was late, but I managed to complete all my work before the deadline, right? So I started late, okay, but I still managed to complete my work before the deadline. That means there are 2 opposing thoughts, 2 contrasting thoughts present here, right? And that is how, if it is said that nevertheless the air was still sticky with damp heat, that means that in contrast to something that happened right before this sentence, nevertheless. So something indicated that the air should not be sticky, that it should not be so damp, and we should not be perspiring. Nevertheless, we are perspiring, the air is sticky, right? So this is a big clue. The other contrast clue, if I see but in the year of our arrival, after a parching summer, the monsoon rains had lasted for only 3 weeks. The third sentence has also a contrast clue word, which is your but. That means that in other years something like this does not happen, but in this year it has happened. So we have to find a sentence which will go prior to this, which will have some contrast with what has happened currently in the year of our arrival, and as opposed to something at some other time, something happens differently, right? That means the monsoon rains don't last for only 3 weeks, they last for much more than that, because only again will indicate a small amount of time, right? So based on these 2 clues, let's try to find out something that will go prior to that. If you see, it's very easy for me to find the pair for the third sentence. Normally in Delhi, September is a month of equatorial fertility, means equatorial rains, tropical rains, right? That is what equatorial fertility sort of symbolizes. The land seems fresh and newly washed. That means that there is a lot of rain that is happening, but in this particular year, as compared to the normal state in September when we went, it was not that much. The monsoon rains only lasted for 3 weeks. So therefore 4 and 3 becomes one pair, and I put it aside. Okay, so like I said previously, we have put one connected pair aside, that is 4 and 3. Normally in Delhi, September is a month of too much rain, but in the year of our arrival, this was not too much rain. Okay, so that is what is the meaning, and I put it aside. 4 and 3 is a connected pair. It must go together. We don't know where, in the beginning, ending, whatever. Right now we are just looking for the clues that are really certain or sure shot. You don't want to work ambiguously. You don't want to say, oh, this is the first sentence, this is the second, this is the third, this is the fourth. I feel that this is the problem with a lot of the students, that you start looking for A, B, C, D kind of a thing, right? Whereas you should be working like this. Your process of solving, your steps of solving needs to happen like this, right? And of course, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, I obviously cannot replicate the 20 different strategies, right, in one go. So just kind of giving you a tip of the iceberg, just to kind of help you out. So 4 and 3 we've put aside. The other thing that I said was nevertheless. So let's try to find out. Nevertheless, the air was still sticky, but in this scenario, the previous sentence will say something which proves that the air was not sticky or damp, right? Because it's a contrasting word. Dust was everywhere. The city's trees and flowers all looked as if they had been lightly sprinkled with talcum powder. If there's dust everywhere, that means the air is dry, right? So in a way this sentence can go with nevertheless. We also have another clue, over there, that we can look at and confirm our hunch. That is personal pronouns. Personal pronouns are of three kinds. This is strategy number 2. Personal pronouns: first person I or me, second person you, we, and third person they, them, right? He, she, like that. So based on the personal pronouns, you can also see the tone of the sentence. The different personal pronouns will generally go together. For example, I am sitting here, I am writing my paper, the paper is done, right? So I am sitting here and I am writing my paper, the first person I've put together, and then the paper is done, the third sentence comes after, because the two sentences that have the same personal pronoun tone will go together. We are late, but we have managed to finish the work, let's go party, right? Whatever. So based on the pronouns, how the grammar flows. So this is basically just an understanding of grammar and how the sentence structure flows. Those will become your clues. So if you look here, in the year of our arrival, right? Okay, this is 4 and 3 about Delhi. Then we began to unpack, right? So we means that we have arrived in the city, okay, and we want to unpack. So if I see the placement, also it makes sense that after we have arrived in the city we begin to unpack, right? We are not going to unpack before we arrive in the city, okay? So therefore it gives me a very good idea as to 4 and 3 should come somewhere in the first half, and 2 and 1, whatever sequence, we can put it in the second half, right? So this will give me a broad idea about the sequence, right? Only once we arrive can we then unpack, right? So this also gives me sequence clues. I will combine it with another strategy. Okay, so this brings us to our next strategy, the cause and effect clues. So anything that indicates the result or the cause of something, we can definitely form it to make another connected pair. Broadly, we know that 4 and 3 is going to come in the first half of the sentence, because we know we have just done that arrival is going to happen first and unpacking will happen later, right? But the sequence is something that we are still working on. So as a result, dust was everywhere. What is this the result of? If I can find this cause, what is the reason that there is dust sprinkled all over on the flowers and the trees? Look for a synonym for dust: parched. There is a parching summer. Parched means dry, right? So there's dust everywhere, that means it's completely parched, and therefore because of the lack of the rains, that has been only 3 weeks, the result has been that there is dust everywhere, right? So 3 is the cause of 2, right? Okay, so 4, 3, 2, and nevertheless the air is still sticky. Like we said, it was contrast. Contrast with what? Even though the air is so dry, but still we are perspiring, we are sweating, there is a cloud of perspiration. It's a contrasting clue, like I discussed earlier, and it fits in perfectly because even though the air is dry, but still, nevertheless, the air is still very humid, very damp, and we are sweating as we unpack. So now it all falls into place. 4 and 3 are connected because of normally and but, and because of the fact that the equatorial rains, newly washed, and monsoon rains, right? Okay, so equatorial and monsoons, right, being the sort of synonyms, right? Then 3 and 2 is connected because of the parching summer, and as a result dust was everywhere. And 2 and 1 is connected because dust is everywhere, nevertheless we are perspiring. Okay, so 4, 3, 2, 1 becomes my sequence, and I'm very sure of this sequence now because I have found clues all across, right? Okay, so this is just the tip of the iceberg. These are just 3 strategies. Obviously, because it's English and because you see that the reorder paragraph section is based on grammatical concepts, such as we did today: contrasting words, personal pronouns, and cause and effect clues. And there are many more, but just to give you an idea, these are definitely strategies that you can use in your test. So the answer 4, 3, 2, 1, you will drag it from the left, the source, into the target. Just select with your mouse and drag. That's how the screen functions. You can see the answer displayed here. Normally in Delhi, September is a month of almost equatorial fertility, but in the year of our arrival, the monsoon rains had lasted only 3 weeks. As a result, dust was everywhere. Nevertheless, it was in a cloud of perspiration that we began to unpack. So you see that it flows, it works, everything makes complete sense, and it follows a logic. I did not guess anything. I found connected pairs and I used the clues to work with that. I have no doubt in my mind that this is the sequence, because I have a reason for placing every sentence at its position, right? That is how clear you must be when you are getting your answer. If you're not clear, that means you're either missing a clue or you're not doing something right. In terms of reorder paragraphs, there are a lot of strategies that you would need to know. So definitely you should not be solving this question type based on guesswork. Okay, thank you for watching this video. For more updates, subscribe to our channel for PTE training and for learning more of these wonderful things. You can contact us at veracitymentors.org@gmail.com. We offer score guaranteed programs. That means that we will ensure you get a 79 plus on each section or a 65 plus on each section, because we know the strategies, we know what goes behind making the paper, and we definitely just like I've explained one question, we solve everything like this, right? There is no ambiguity, there's no confusion. Everything is very, very clear. Everything is based on logic and strategies. So when I say strategies, this is what I mean by it. This is just an example of that. Okay, so ending this here now.